for the first part of our review, we have this part that looks like this. So I just want you to go through and see if you can draw a picture or explain what you know about the vocabulary word. And then you're going to come back and see if what you know matches what I think you should know. So go ahead and fill out these 9 words and pause the video and then come on back. Okay, so we're just going to run through these words really quick. So, right, the Earth's tilt, we could draw ourselves a picture here of the Earth, and then we could show that the Earth is tilted on its axis, right? The North Pole does not go straight up. It's always going to be tilted, and it's going to stay that same tilt. So this also helps cause seasons and that unequal heating, because right as it goes around, sometimes that is pointed towards the sun, sometimes it is pointed away from the sun as it's going around. So those are the 2 main things, right? Not straight up and down. It is actually 23.5 degrees. Okay, so the revolution, it means the sun, well, not the sun, the Earth goes around the sun, takes a year. All right, the sun stays in the place and the Earth is going around the sun. This also helps cause seasons. So the Earth has to tilt. So if it just stayed in the same place, the sun would always just be the same. So it has to tilt. So sometimes it gets the pole, sometimes it gets just the equator, sometimes it's getting the other South Pole. So it's getting different places. But right, if it just stayed the same, then it would just still be getting the same place. So it also has to move around the sun. So that sometimes it gets the North Pole, sometimes it gets the South Pole. In the spring and fall, it gets more of the equator. So that revolution and the tilt together cause the seasons. Revolution, not rotation. That is day and night. Hey, circulation means it is moving in a cycle. So, right, I could have drawn something to show that, right, it is cycling around, right? If it's circulating, it's going in a circle. Air circulates, water circulates. They are moving in a cycle, and they have a particular way that they move. But just the word circulation just means it's moving. It's constantly moving. Okay, our jet stream. So I have our Earth here. So the jet stream is this flow of air that moves in between those convection cells, right? So we've got these cells here that are being created out here, right? The hot and cold air is going up and down. And we've got this air that's being pushed in between them, right? It wants to go up into this one and it pushes it back down. It wants to go into that one and it just keeps being pushed up and down. And so it's going to bring hot air up with it, and it's going to bring cold air down. So warm air comes up and cold air comes down from the poles. So convection, we've learned about this several times this year. So convection is when we have, so a liquid or gas moving in a cycle, right? The heat rises and cold sinks. So we can see that in the water and in the air. So if our equator, right, gets warm, we've got the warm water rises to the poles, and then the cold comes back down to the equator, and it does that in the water and in the atmosphere. So those cells are happening right on our Earth, and the hot air goes out, and then the cold comes back in, and then that hot air, right, is here, and it, right, goes up, and then the cold comes back down. So these are these cells being created. So these cells, right, a cell is something that traps it in. Hey, we have direct and indirect sunlight. So if I draw a model, okay, apparently I'm drawing a circle. So if I have my equator, right, this is where I'm going to have the direct sunlight. And then up here at the poles is where I'm going to have that indirect sunlight, which spreads out. We get those climate zones because of that direct and indirect sunlight. Okay, and then we have our climate. One more after this. Okay, so climates are long-term patterns, right? So long-term patterns of weather. So we expect in Utah, in Tremonton, that in December we will have snow. We expect in July for it to be hot. Those are patterns we expect. You go to Las Vegas, right? They don't expect snow. Okay, can it snow there? Yes. But their climate is that it's a desert and they don't expect it. Their pattern shows that it usually does not snow there. So we've got these climates, right? So we're going to have, right, that hottest part at the equator. We're going to have places where we get more seasons going out from there. And then we've got the colder parts at the poles. So they get colder as they get farther away from the equator. Okay, and then our last one is that we have the Gulf Stream. So over here, wow, I'm going to draw a really good picture right now. So over here we have United States, and right, so down here lower is our equator. It's down farther, but okay, and then over here, wow, this is good. We have Europe. This is why I'm not your social studies teacher. Okay, so we've got this warm current that comes up, and so normally this is pretty high up here, but because of this warm current, it causes this warm, moist, warm, wet, there we go, climate in Europe because of that Gulf Stream that comes up through here. So even though these are higher latitudes, it has a warm water coming up past it. And right, the water and then the wind blows, right, this direction. So, right, it's blowing west to east, east to west. The words left me. But it's blowing that way. Blowing, I can't. West to east. Yeah, west to east. Yes, west to east. Sorry. Okay, so it's blowing west to east. So over here's the west, and it's blowing this way. And so all that warm, hot water gets blown across this part of Europe here. So places over here are going to have like this colder from the pole coming down, and so like places right straight across from it are going to be colder, where these are going to be warmer even though they're at the same latitude there. Okay, so make sure you understand those vocabulary words to help you with your test.